The Great Depression in the 1930s was New Zealand's most severe economic crisis. It was triggered by the 1929 Wall Street crash and saw a 45% drop in our export prices. National income plummeted, leading to mass unemployment, violent urban riots, and the creation of the modern welfare system. Does this sound familiar at all? Today we're going to go through 6 things that I do that are exactly the same as those who lived through the Great Depression in New Zealand. And whilst those people did these things to survive, I'm doing them to thrive. First up, number 1, make your own products. Home economists, i.e. the women of the house, during the Depression era, knew that to buy a product was going to be way more expensive than to make a product. So people made their own soap, their own washing mixtures, detergents or powders, and I'm the same. There is nothing you can't do with baking soda, vinegar, or a bar of Sunlight soap. I clean absolutely everything with baking soda and vinegar, so I don't even have to make it. I just need to grab it from the pantry. And a little goes a really long way. If you think of everything like it's a scarce resource, like our great-grandmothers did, then you're going to be a whole heap more careful with it. And here you can see I'm cleaning with baking soda. I've done the bath, the shower, and now I'm doing the sink. And that's just with an old cloth that I have made out of an old sheet. So I've just sewn a couple of sides of a sheet together to make some cleaning cloths. And that's it, a bit of baking soda, some water, and that will have that shiny and wonderful. So I'm not making cleaning products, but I am making body products. And here I am making my own deodorant. It's really, really easy. I have bought some bulk products about a year ago. I actually did a course on how to make soap, how to make deodorant, and how to make lip balm. And I paid for that. It was a course I paid for. I guess I could have learnt it online. I don't know anyone who was doing it, so I couldn't just go along and learn via somebody else. But I actually quite like going to a course. I found it really fun. So it's something I booked myself and my daughter into. And this is the first time since that course I've actually had to make the deodorant. I have bought everything I need except for the scales. I need digital scales, and that's mostly for the soap making. But the deodorant did require a little bit of guesswork, I guess, is what I would call it. I thought, I had to have 5 grams of this and 5 grams of that just to make one pottle of deodorant for myself. But the pottle that I had been using has lasted, crikey, I reckon about 8 months. So it really goes a long way. So I've just used all the products that I already had. I've made moisturizer. Oh, that was the other thing I learned how to make was moisturizer. So I've made the moisturizer plenty of times since I did that course, and most of the ingredients are kind of the same. So I've got everything in the cupboard, to use for this. So I've made the deodorant. Like I said, a little goes a long, long way, and this little tiny container I have will last me the best part of 8 months, I think. And if I was going to be using like a roll-on stick of deodorant, say that's $4.50, at least every 2 months, I guess you'd need a new deodorant. So over 8 months, that's 4, 4, 16. So $20. Is this deodorant costing me $20 to make? No, it's not. Not even. It would be dollars, a couple of dollars, I would say. So yeah, have a go. Maybe. Have you had a go in the past at something like this? Has it worked out? Has it not worked out? I've actually tried all sorts of different kinds of homemade deodorant in the past, and this is the only one I like. Like I would be in the past using some kind of homemade deodorant, and I don't think it would actually work. By the end of the day, I'd be like, oh, hang on, I can kind of smell myself, which you don't want to have. So it would be something that I wouldn't really use. Whereas this is the deodorant. I actually use it every single day. I have a busy job. I am on my feet a lot, and I do sweat sometimes at work because sometimes the work can be physical, or it can be hot, or it can be heavy. And this deodorant works, so I totally recommend it. And just like during the Great Depression, we had to look at ways to celebrate or to meet our needs with our own hands. So here's an example of some things I've made for presents. I've made candles. We use them too, but I did make these for presents. I knitted some dishcloths. So useful things that people will want. There's some baby bunting that I made. Here's some things around the house that I've made that could also be used as gifts. There's my little baskets. I finished that one. I was talking about that in my last video. So working with hands and decorating our homes and giving gifts that we've made were all things that people did during the Depression. And here's a little picture that I made too. Number 2, use the library. I work with a young woman who's in her mid-20s. She has a PhD and is $90,000 in debt. When I asked her why she did a PhD, she said because she loves to learn. Now, I am not against university at all, but 9 years of study to come out with all that debt and not land a particular high-paying job, to me, that just seems like a real waste. There is literally a university at the library where you can learn new skills, attend free events, do homework, keep warm, and entertain yourself with books, games, puzzles, magazines. At our local library, or our central library, I should say, there is even sewing machines, overlockers. Like you can literally do almost anything at the library these days. Kids have access to all the like Nintendo Switches or PlayStations. It's a great place to spend time. And people during the Depression knew this too. When there is no money left over for discretionary spending, libraries are an awesome source of entertainment. My family personally, we've used it to attend courses, we've done educational classes for the kids, we've done podcasting, made badges, sewed things there, we've seen movies, and we've attended talks. I think there's literally nothing that the library wouldn't do if it was almost suggested. And then on top of that, there's the normal things like getting the books out, renting a movie from the library, getting an audiobook or CDs. So when you don't have much money, a really easy way to claw some of that money back is to do away with the entertainment budget. And that's not to say you don't do anything. It's just to say you don't spend money doing that stuff. The main way that I personally use the library is just to get out a good old-fashioned book. And this is a great way. You don't have to pay for the book. You get it for free. But also the author gets some of the money. Every time you check a book out from the library, the author gets some money for that. So it's good for everybody using the library. Number 3, save before spending, always. The order in which you manage your money really matters. Our grandmothers were excellent savers because they grew up in a time that was defined by scarcity. They had to either navigate the Great Depression or wartime rationing. And this instilled a deep-rooted sense in them that they needed to make things last. They needed to avoid debt. And cash was a tool for survival rather than instant gratification. So they prioritized cash-only living. Long before credit cards or buy now, pay later, they operated entirely on a cash budget. If they didn't have funds in their physical envelopes, they simply went without. We do that too. We don't have everything in a physical envelope, but if we don't have money for it, we do not buy it. We do not go into debt for anything. We will not buy a house with debt. We will not fund a car with debt or a holiday or school fees or braces, anything. We save for what we want first and then we pay for it. They had a make, do and mend mentality. Instead of replacing broken items, they repaired or upcycled. And like the people of the Depression era, we also prioritise our emergency fund. We understand that life is unpredictable. The 4th thing we do in our house, just like the people of the Great Depression, is buy in bulk. During the Great Depression, bulk purchasing was a vital survival strategy. And it kind of seems like that way now to me. Particularly in the Great Depression, it was about unemployed citizens and struggling families. But now, I don't know, almost every family seems to somewhat struggle. Even if you were previously very comfortable, things have got a whole lot tighter. So people formed grassroots cooperatives, buying clubs to pool their meagre funds. And by buying wholesale directly from the producers, they were able to bypass retail markups and secure those big bulk discounts. And then you could get the staple foods that they otherwise couldn't afford. And that's exactly what I do. I'm part of a co-op and we direct source. That means that we pool our money to purchase larger than average quantities of core staples. So for us, it's things like flour, sugar, oats, and some people do fruits and vegetables and dairy. Our co-op doesn't do that. And then we get the bulk shipment delivered to someone's garage, and then we split it based on how many shares we've bought. And then it's transferred back to your own, particular house. So we're part of, I guess it's a buying club, and it makes sure that all of us can receive goods at the best price possible. It also cuts out the middleman, and I think it makes the food more secure. And you could do this too. I have big bags of flour, oats, rice, and then smaller shares of sugar, desiccated coconut, dried apricots. You can see them there in my containers. A big shout out to Stacey from Farmer's Wife Homestead, because gosh, it was probably almost 2 years ago. She did like a pantry tour with me at my house. And one of the things she mentioned was that I had a lot of bulk foods, but I wasn't storing them very well. So I was kind of putting them at risk. And that's what made me go out and get those big containers. They're just $1 each. They live in this outside cupboard. This is in my garage. And hopefully that will keep everything safe and sound and free from rodents at least. We allocate about $1,000 a year for bulk food purchases, so it's $20 a week, and in turn that saves us thousands of dollars. So anyone can start a food co-op. There are instructions online even how to do this, and I would really recommend it. Is it something that you think you would like to be part of? Is it something you could start with a group of friends to get wholesale prices for your food and cut out the middleman? Let me know in the comments below. The fifth lesson from the Great Depression is seeing the lessons. You don't have to explicitly teach every single thing to your kids or your family. And just like in the Great Depression, our kids have learned through observing, then helping, and then taking over a job. When your kids see you baking, bottling, mowing the lawn, repairing clothes, they learn that these are normal and expected adult tasks, and they want to be involved in them. Working out the budget, seeing parents make decisions, understanding the value of $1 are all things that Depression era kids understood, as do mine. Now, there's no actual scarcity in our home like there was in the Great Depression, so we kind of make it up. We create scenarios that mimic a time like the Great Depression because we think these values are really, really important. And one of the ways we do this is we just say no, not because we can't afford something, but because it seems like an unreasonable thing for a kid to have or do. And that can be sometimes like an event. For example, the Crusaders semi-final is coming up. My family have season passes, and then you have to pay extra on top of that to go to this next game. Well, the season pass was already way more expensive than we were expecting, and we're probably not going to do it next year again. But we're certainly not going to then go and pay another, quite a few $100s for extra tickets. Could we do that? Yes, we do. We do have the money to do it, but we make the choice and go, no, that's actually an unreasonable amount of money to go and watch a game of rugby. So that's one example. Another example for the kids is I guess a modern budgeting example is a mobile phone. I won't buy a phone for the kids or pay for their plan. They needed to work outside of our home to make money and save that. And then if they don't budget their current money well, then they can't pay their phone bill. I take absolutely no responsibility for this at all. I don't mind if they do or don't have a phone, but it's nothing to do with me. And I guess that's by doing these things, not just learning to budget, but also watching and helping people do things around the home or bake. Not only does it save you money, and make no mistake, it saves hundreds of dollars doing these things for yourself. It saves you money, but it also helps you and your kids feel like capable, useful humans. And in a world of outmist, well, I'm glad you've made it to number 6. Shop strategically. Now you can see how I have managed to get $300 worth of groceries for only $125 by shopping strategically. I have been working on my pantry for some time now, and today's shop or this particular shop, I was able to buy almost all sale items. Everything that is on that left side of the table, from the tomato sauce over, you can kind of see there, all the meat, all the dairy, all the buns, all the tinned things, all on sale. So I'm literally saving myself hundreds of dollars every time I'm at the supermarket because I'm now able to shop strategically. And this is something that makes a huge difference to my family on a weekly basis. During the Depression, everyone understood that convenience came at a price. There was no room for people to shop at a particular supermarket because that was quicker, closer, they liked it more, they enjoyed the decor. If it cost more, that made no sense. People were tired too during the Depression. On top of long hours, childcare, labour intensive tasks around the house, walking everywhere, people still had to go and get food. But they did learn that when one shop had a product on sale, that's where they'd go. They learnt which markets were best for meat prices or vegetables. And often this meant walking from one shop to another. It wasn't all in one big supermarket because they didn't really exist. And that was all done to save $1. And I do this too. I'm up early on a particular day of the week to get the best deals. I go to factory shops to get bargains. And yes, these things are somewhat inconvenient. Yes, they take time. But yes, they save us an enormous amount of money. So that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed looking at Depression era hacks, the things that people did to save money when they really had to. Because as they say, it's better to put the roof on when the sun is shining. We have a very small window, I believe, to put the roof on before things get so tight that it feels almost unbearable. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can save money so that you can live the life of your dreams, which is exactly what I'm trying to do, stick with me, NZ Money Karma, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye for now.